What's up, everybody, and welcome into another episode of Goal Line Dynasty. Today, we are kind of making a weird one for you guys, and we're talking about sleeper quarterbacks. And they might not necessarily be sleepers. I guarantee you have heard of all four of these guys, but these four quarterbacks that we're going to go over today, they are easily guys that could outplay their ADP and outplay their current trade values. But before we reveal who those four guys are, Tyler, how we doing, buddy?
I'm great. The quarterback position is, usually locked into its tiers, but there's a lot of guys that are really sour in terms of what the community thinks. So I'm excited to, plant flags into some little pieces of poop here today.
Absolutely. Well, I love to hear it. Well, you know what? I'll let you plant your first flag. So who you got first on your list?
All right. So my first guy, in terms of dynasty value, he's a pretty obvious. I think he should be an obvious top 15 dynasty quarterback. And according to Keep Trade Cut, he's ranked as a QB 16. So I guess not too far off, but I'm even kind of valuing above some of these other guys. He's currently equal to the 107, which is like, JSN Jackson. Well, yeah, no, not JSN Jackson Smith and Jigba. It's after that. So yeah, actually I'm fine giving that pick up for Daniel Jones. I'm not getting any other relevant quarterback. I'm getting a dominant quarterback too. He finished as the QB9 last year. Dude is a great fantasy quarterback to have. I don't necessarily think that he's a great NFL quarterback. As a Cowboys fan, he's my third favorite in the division. But in terms of being a fantasy quarterback, he's going to run the ball a lot. And he just got a long-term contract. So I'm going to stick with him and hope that the Giants keep surrounding him with weapons. But even if not, he's still going to run the ball, 8-9 times a game. So I love Daniel Jones. I love drafting him at the end of the 5th and the mid-6th round of startups. And Danny Dimes is my quarterback too all the time.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about Daniel Jones, and I haven't been super high on him in the past, but you've kind of recently put me on the Danny Jones hype train, right? So a lot to love there. Had a top 9 finish, like you said, in 2022. And to your point, I mean, the 107, I think that's an easy pick to trade away for Daniel Jones. Like, yeah, I'd rather have Gibbs. I'd rather have JSN. I'd rather have any of our top 3 quarterbacks. But 107, you're looking at Jordan Addison, Will Levis, maybe QJ. And I think in a super flex league, I would take Daniel Jones over any of those guys right now. So I think that's definitely fair value. And I do like calling out Daniel Jones as someone to kind of inquire about in this offseason before that 2023 kickoff happens. But I'm going to move into my first guy here, and it's someone, admittedly, I'm not insanely super high on him, but the value is definitely there. So Desmond Ritter is currently the QB 31 on the sleeper ADP. He's going all the way at pick 131. And this just seems entirely too low for me. Like I said, I'm not a massive believer in Desmond Ritter, but he's a guy that is almost guaranteed to have a role for the Atlanta Falcons. I'd probably say for the next 2 years, right? Unless he really goes out there and stinks it up in 2023, which I don't think he's going to do. Unless he stinks it up, they're not going to be in a position to go out there and get Caleb Williams or Drake May. They're not going to be in the top 5 draft pick conversation. And unless they make a big kind of splash like Carolina did to get Bryce Young, Atlanta's not going to have an early enough pick to take one of those quarterbacks that would kind of dethrone Desmond Ritter. But looking at his first 4 starts in the NFL, 115 attempts, no interceptions, right? We love a fantasy guy that is going to go out there and take care of the football. In those 4 games, he also had 2 games where he did have over 215 yards. And the final game of the season was 224, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. One thing with Desmond Ritter, not a ton of rushing upside. He's going to sneak away for 1 or 2 here and there. But aside from that, just, not much to expect. And the coaching staff, right, they've told Desmond Ritter that he's the starter. They told the media that he's the starter, and then they go out, they don't draft a guy, they don't do anything in free agency. So I mean, the coaches are literally telling us Desmond Ritter is their guy, and he's going to be their guy for the foreseeable future. So at QB 31, I love the value. I don't necessarily agree with the keep trade cut value. They have him at 204. So I'm probably not trading 204 to get Desmond Ritter. But if I'm in a startup, I can get him a lot later. I'm going to do that. Or if I can get him kind of as the throw-in piece or the bonus piece in a larger trade, I'll do that as well. So Desmond Ritter, QB 31, I think he outplays that ADP.
Yeah, I like Desmond Ritter. And I mean, we know the Arthur Smith game plan is, pound the football and figure everything else out later. And Bijan Robinson's going to take a big role in that offense. But I mean, dude's surrounded with talent, and Drake London and Kyle Pitts are both very good receiving options. So I think I like a little bit of what we saw. I think like you said, he's not going to really turn the ball over much because he's going to be able to lean on that rushing offense, and he just overall was pretty safe with the ball. Maybe not very accurate, but he did not turn the ball over. And then just in terms of being in a great spot, and the fact that the Falcons are going to probably have to trade up for a high-end quarterback next year. I mean, they're probably going to finish as a 7-10, 8-9 type team. So they're going to have to either put a massive deal together or kick the can down the road again one more year. But my second guy here is going to be one that the community absolutely hates, like really, really, really hates. But I think they're wrong for hating him, and Trey Lance. He's ranked as the quarterback 20 right now, again, going at like the end of the 6th round in startups, mid-7th, quarterback 20. That's absolutely ridiculous. The guy was just drafted as a top 3 quarterback, or as a top 3 overall pick, rather, a couple years ago. And he's only played like 3.5 real games of football, and he's been very, very good in those games. He's put up 2 20-point games and a 15-point game. Only those 20-point games, he only played half the game. He was in for 51% of the snap share. So this is a guy who's going to get opportunity. He's by far the highest paid quarterback on that roster. Brock Purdy's got health concerns. Sam Darnold, the league does not like Sam Darnold. Granted, I liked him coming out of college. I was proven wrong by his success in the league. And granted, I think anybody can be successful in the San Francisco offense. I see no reason why they're not going to want Trey Lance on the field when he's able to, be another weapon in that backfield like Christian McCaffrey. Like having a rushing quarterback along with Christian McCaffrey plus Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, like that's a George Kittle. That's just a loaded offense. So I would much rather if I'm running that San Francisco front office, I would much rather throw Trey Lance out there. The upside is just immense. I mean, even looking back, like the fact that people are talking about Sam Darnold, like Sam Darnold has failed for how long now? It's been like 5 years that he's been in the league, and he was a very high end draft pick, and he's still getting an opportunity to like come in and compete for a spot. Trey Lance is not dead. He's going to compete for playing time, and I believe that he's going to get it this year. He again runs the ball 10 times a game in the games that he plays, and he's got a big arm. He likes to throw the ball down the field, and he's got the weapons to do it in that offense. And I think that he is going to be by far and away the most talented quarterback in that room come training camp time, and I'm not worried about him not getting the opportunity to play. He's going to be a serviceable fantasy quarterback. He was right away. He's currently valued as the QB 20, ranked at the 111, aka like Will Levis territory. I'm taking Trey Lance over any of those guys at the 111. Zay Flowers, Zach Charbonnet, all day long. Give me Trey Lance, and I love drafting him in the late rounds of startups this year too. So
yeah, I can see your eyes light up, man. You're very passionate about getting Trey Lance on your fantasy squad, but I don't disagree with you. I think I was staying away from Trey Lance at cost for the longest time, but I mean, dude, like you said, the fantasy community has really soured on him to the point where it's almost ridiculous. We knew that Trey Lance coming in as a rookie was going to be more of a project than anything. We knew that he would sit his entire first year behind Jimmy Garoppolo. That's exactly what happened, right? And then he got injured. And he just has not been judged fairly. And I think that if he is healthy by the time training camp starts, it's not going to be a competition. I, as a Carolina Panthers fan, I've watched Sam Darnold in training camp. I've watched Sam Darnold play NFL games. It's not fun. It's not pretty. And Brock Purdy's coming into the season nice and hobbled as well. Might not even play in 2023. I think this is a dream scenario for Trey Lance to bounce back. And I absolutely love calling him as a must buy right now, kind of sleeper candidate at the quarterback position, because there's just dude, unless he stays hurt, there's no way that he can possibly disappoint you at the cost you're paying for him.
I saw somebody else say this too. Like if he were to start less than like 50 games, he would be one of 3 quarterbacks drafted in the top 3 since like 2000, and the other 2 being Jamarcus Russell and RG3. Like he would have to be like an all-time bust in order to not get the playing time. The dude was drafted in at the back end of the first, early second last year in startups. Like he was he was so hyped and people were so excited for him, and he gets hurt and people like Brock Purdy steps in. Brock Purdy could be the next Davis Mills for all we know. Granted, Davis Mills obviously did not win like Brock Purdy did, and did not have the name pedigree that he did, and people didn't love him like they love Brock Purdy. But I think they just invested way too much in Trey Lance to not put him there. What quarterback room in the NFL has the third highest paid guy in the room as their starting quarterback? There's not a single one, and I don't believe that San Francisco is going to break the mold.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm excited to see what Trey Lance can do in 2023. He's the perfect kind of dart throw as your QB2, right? Because if he hits, he's going to smash. And if he doesn't hit, well, the current price you're paying for him, it's really not breaking the bank. But moving into my second sleeper, not so sleeper quarterback here, I guess this would be a sleeper quarterback, Sam Howe. Right. I know the two guys that I'm going after here, Desmond Ritter was QB 31, according to the ADP. Sam Howe is QB 33. His market value, according to Keep Trade Cut, rookie 206. I think that's a little rich for my blood, but I would consider sending maybe the 207 or 208 for Sam Howe. And I do think that you might be able to get that kind of deal done. So definitely an interesting one. Now, he only played in one NFL game to date, and it was the season closer that Washington had. He had an okay stat line, 170 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, but added 5 rushes for 35 yards and a touchdown. Washington has said that Sam Howe is going to be the guy. Their actions have backed it up. You know, it's the same spiel that I've given you on Desmond Ritter. I can give you on Sam Howe. The coaches, the management, everything like that, they're backing Sam Howe as their guy, and Sam Howe is going to have the opportunity to go out there and be their guy. He's got a really good wide receiver trio to throw to between Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, and Curtis Samuel. Underrated, kind of an extra sleeper player here for you. Dyami Brown, right? He came in. He was drafted to Washington a couple years ago. He's more of a deep threat guy than anything, but his college quarterback was Sam Howe, and now these two get to play together. So if Dyami Brown can find the field, that's actually kind of exciting. I'm a big Dyami Brown fan, so I had to plug that. But looking back at my rookie rankings for the 2022 class, Sam Howe was my number 2 rookie quarterback, only behind Kenny Pickett, and it really wasn't that far off. Like, I thought Sam Howell could sneak into the late first round, maybe early second round in the NFL draft. And then obviously he fell to the 5th round, which just kind of a little ridiculous for me. But my favorite thing about Sam Howell is 1, the upside, but 2, the cost. In a startup draft, according to Sleeper, pick number 171. That's basically you're just ripping a piece of toilet paper out of your bathroom during your sleeper draft and putting that on your team at pick 171. The dude could have a really good career. Again, I think Washington's in a similar situation to Atlanta, where they're likely not going to have a top 5 pick next year because their team is just good enough. So I think Howe is going to play himself into a good enough opportunity to where he could be an NFL starter for the next 2 years. And even if you I would like to see him play a full career. But even if you only get 2 years out of the guy in your QB2 or even QB3 spot, you're going to be pretty happy, right? So Sam Howell, great value where he currently is, and is a guy that I'm targeting in a lot of spots.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's going to be a starter means that he should not be ranked as the 33rd overall quarterback in Dynasty. I mean, in the startup I just did, he went at the back end of the 11th in a super flex, right around Cortland Sutton, Khalil Herbert, and I would definitely take the shot on Sam Howell for that. Like guys like Chase Brown, Hendon Hooker, like, yeah, I know that Sam Howell is going to be a starter. I am taking him over Hendon Hooker, and well, I mean, maybe not Jimmy Garoppolo because that's probably like the same shelf life, and they probably like Jimmy Garoppolo's situation a little bit better. But yeah, I'm going with Sam Howell at that point.
Yeah, so definitely exciting. You know, you gave a bit more high-end guys. I gave those back-end guys, but I think it provides a nice mix of guys to look into this offseason that could easily outplay their ADP. I think my favorite one on this list is not even one of the guys that I highlighted. Danny Jones. I really love that you bring him up because, again, man, he just finished the season as a top 10 quarterback, and a lot of things in the tea leaves that are going to say it's going to happen again, right? So that's a great call. But that's going to do it for us here on Goal Line Dynasty today. So there you have our 4 sleeper, not so sleeper quarterbacks, depending on how you want to look at it. But before we wrap up this video today, Tyler, any closing remarks, buddy?
Yeah, like, comment, and subscribe if you liked what we had to say.
Yep, love it. Quick, simple, to the point, just like this video. But yeah, thanks for tuning in on Goal Line Dynasty with us here today, and we will see you next time.